Hi, Madeleine here from Sonic Bloom. In Live 12.3, AutoPan got a complete overhaul, and because of changes and features, it also got a new name, which is AutoPan Tremolo. And in this video, we're going to look at all the new features and changes, and also 5 use cases for inspiration on how to use the new features. So let's get started. We can find the AutoPan Tremolo in the audio effects, and I'm just gonna double click to load the default. And you can see we now have 2 modes, panning and tremolo, and you can use either or. When you're in panning mode, you can use the AutoPan Tremolo to modulate the panning in the stereo field. And with tremolo, you can use it to modulate the volume. Okay, let's start with panning. So we have a display here. You can also see that it's going left, right with the settings at the moment. And something that is new in Live 12.3 is that we have now 9 waveforms for the underlying LFO for the panning. We can actually set the waveform and maybe increase the amount first. So you can see that now it goes hard left and hard right, whereas at 50% it only goes to basically -25 and +25. So with sine wave, triangle, sawtooth up, down, rectangular, and 3 more random ones. Okay, then we have different ways how to basically set the LFO that leads to the panning. So we either have rate, which is in hertz, we've got time, so we've got seconds. It goes from 100 milliseconds all the way to 200 milliseconds. So if you want to have really subtle changes in the panning, this might be a great choice. Then we've got synced, which is note measures. We've got triplets. Got dotted. And we've got 16th as well. So I'm going to go back to sine wave, and then we can have a look at shape, because the shape basically makes it more extreme. So basically it would stay near the hard left or hard right longer. Let's set that maybe to quarter. Okay, then here we have the phase that we can change. So let me just select sine wave and then set the shape back to 0. And we can basically change how left and right behave towards each other. So right now it would stay at the center. And just have a basically volume modulation despite using panning. Same at 360 degrees, 180 is where it pans left and right properly, and then you can shift this a little bit. For example, if the original signal is not quite centered and we want to make sure that it goes left and right the same way. We also have spin, so we could spin it. And we can invert the polarity. So basically, the start changes from either left to right or vice versa. And we can also use the phase offset to move where it starts. And then two new parameters were added. First is the attack time, which means that you can slow the increase in going left, right. So for example, if you want it to go completely hard left, right, but not right away, this is how you can do it. And you can set it in milliseconds to seconds. So let's try this. And then the other one basically means that if you set it to positive values, then the louder signals increase the LFO frequency. So basically the panning goes faster. And if you set it to negative values, then if you have louder signals, the LFO frequency decreases. So this way you get a slowing effect, and this way an increasing one. Okay, now let's have a look at Tremolo. So Tremolo has largely the same features, but not completely. First of all, it uses just one waveform that can be shaped with a shape parameter. Amount and rate is exactly the same, and the different time modes. As you can see, if you want to use phase or spin, is deactivated. So let's just start playing it. So we're going to keep the settings for now. I'm going to set it back here to 0%. So we can decrease the amount the same way, the rate. But the shape is different so that you can see that it changes completely. If you want to have a swirling effect, you can change the polarity. You can use the phase offset to basically adjust the groove when it should start. For example, if it should be a little bit early, it should be like the driving force. I'm going to turn this back. So here you've got basically a pumping effect. Saw, triangle, and then it kind of goes towards sine, and then rectangular. You can hear you can change that quite dramatically as well. And attack time we have as well. But instead it is the volume that is slowly increased. And that works as well. But what is not part of panning, but only tremolo, are these two modes. First off, we have the harmonic tremolo mode, which I think is really cool because you have basically a crossover point, as you can see here in the icon as well, at 600 Hertz. And so it basically swings between anything above and below 600 Hertz. And then we have the vintage tremolo mode that when I turn it on, you get some saturation added, which can also be quite nice. Now let's have a look at 5 use cases. First up, we have a pendulum effect that we can create, and I'm going to use the same piano sound and MIDI clip. And I'm just going to add the default again. We're going to use panning for this, because otherwise you do not get a pendulum effect. Then we're going to set the rate to synced. I'm actually going to keep it at sine wave, set the amount to 100% so it's nicely audible. And then we're going to set the rate, to 1. That's great. And we can then just quickly listen. So now we have a box standard ping pong effect style, but if we use the attack time, we can change that. And if we want to change where it swings first, we can just use invert. Next up, we have pumping or swelling bass lines that we can create with the AutoPen Tremolo. So I'm just going to quickly play the clip on its own. Easily a very overpowering bass, and we can rein that in with the AutoPen Tremolo. So I'm just going to use the default as well. Then I'm going to turn it to Tremolo mode. We're going to set it to synced as well, and I'm going to set the rate to 1/8 notes. I'm going to set the amount to 100%, and we can just have a quick listen. That already gives us a little bit more space for other sounds, but we can also try a different shape. And it also gives a nice rhythmic feel, I think. And we could turn on the vintage tremolo mode to see if the saturation is nice. In this case, it almost seems to make it a little bit more quiet when it's turned on, so up to you if that's something you want or not. We could use the phase offset to adjust the groove, so if it should be lagging or leading compared to especially the drums. And if you invert the polarity of the LFO, then what you get is a swelling bass line. Next up, we've got gated drums that we can create, and I'm going to solo this one. We're going to play the clip on its own. And we're going to add the Autopen Tremolo with a double click. We're going to use Tremolo again because that's the new mode that we got. I'm going to set it to synced again and quarter notes. Amp up the amount to 100% again. And then let's have a quick listen. Not really enough effect yet, but we could set the shape to minus 100% to basically mostly just get the kick and the snare. And the boom is also completely gone. It's also a great way to rein in the drums or make it possible to use top loops, for example. Another possibility is to set the shape back to 0% and use invert for a completely different feel. So it kind of rhythmically comes in and goes out again. And I'm going to take it back to the first example. Example number 4 is to use the Autopen Tremolo for subtle panning effects for cymbals. So I'm going to grab the Autopen Tremolo this time and drop it into the right 606 pad, so it's only in there. And this time we're going to use the Autopen Tremolo in panning again, but I'm actually going to turn it off and we're going to listen to the clip. And width. But I want to make this a little bit more varied, so I'm going to use the second to last waveform here and very subtle in the changes. We could add more mount. And I'm going to use synced again at 1. Or we could also experiment by setting it to spin and trying different settings. And last but definitely not least, a very cool way of using the Autopen Tremolo is for rhythmic filtering effects. First, I'm gonna play the clip. And now I'm gonna add the default again. We're gonna set it straight to tremolo again. And I'm gonna use synced as well and keep it at 1. Crank up the amount to 100%, and let's have a quick listen. So you can hear that it goes in and out. I'm actually gonna turn shape up to 100%. So now basically we have like a half a bar, the plate sound at full volume, and half a bar, the plate not at all. But what we can also do is we can turn on the harmonic tremolo mode to basically have it alternate between the lower and the higher frequencies. If we want, we could invert the polarity so that the other band will start. And we could also try vintage tremolo mode. Let's listen without. And with. If you're interested in seeing more use cases for the AutoPan, I'm going to link a previous video with 5 more use cases.